Hello everyone and welcome back to Ratting Road. I'm going to start the video off by saying a big Happy New Year to everybody. I hope everybody had a good Christmas and New Year despite the slight disappointment that we had to put up with. Obviously Christmas was a little bit different to what it's been on other years due to the government restrictions on the COVID-19 situation. But hopefully this year we can kiss the virus goodbye and then have our lives completely back to normal. So hopefully that's all something we can look forward to later on in the year. So today I'll bring a quick layout update video. It's going to be quite shorter compared to what I normally do. Not that much progress has happened on the layout since the last layout update. It's only been a few months as it was back in the beginning of October last year. So as I said, not much has happened at all really. That's down to things like taking a step back from the layout. I didn't do that much work in December because I bumped into a few problems on the layout which I'll talk about later, and also the next stages of the layout build itself have required quite a lot of trial and error and things like that. So you'll see later on, and I'll obviously talk about the plans for the future as well, so you'll get an idea on what's to come. So obviously isn't a layout update video without some trains running round, and as you can see there's one now, and that's my Class 37 in the Euro Phoenix livery. And that's hauling round a latest addition to the layout, which is a charge track cleaning wagon. So that's just cleaning the track for me now, as I haven't been in here in a little while, so the track's going to be a little bit dirty. And then in front of me now is another Class 90, which is another new addition, and that's 900034 in DB branded DRS livery, and that's about to enter the tunnel hauling my Pretendolino set. The Pretendolino set you've already seen in the last layout update video, but the set has grown by 3 coaches. I managed to get hold of another coach back to complete the set, as well as having a spare buffet, so I've now got the full Pretendolino set and a spare buffet, which is always nice. So I've already started making it into the Abellio Greater Anglia leased set, and you'll probably see on the DVT that it's actually lacking its Virgin branding now. So if I just quickly zoom in at the back, you can see there is no Virgin logo on that, so apologies if I've upset anyone, but that had to go. And then here's 900034 again. I'll talk about this model later on as normal, but there you go, you can just have a quick look at it now just while it runs around. So I'm going to get started now on the update, and I hope you enjoy. So over here on my embankment, nothing has changed on there at all since the last layout update video. We left it well enough alone, more or less, along with the car park as well. So that's remained untouched, as are the sidings. So more or less everything on this side of the layout hasn't changed at all. So there's the disused footpath seen over on this corner of the layout. That hasn't changed. And obviously again the embankment, the car park, the depot sidings haven't changed at all. But if I come over here, you'll see where I've started on the facility area, which was the last video I'd done. So I'll link that in the corner now, and you can go through and watch that if you choose to, just to see how I made this up. But since that video, this hasn't changed either. I've had some suggestions on detailing and things like how to make the concrete more realistic, so I thank for those who commented and things like that, just done some suggestions, so I'll certainly utilise them in the future once I carry on with this area. And then the main line hasn't changed either in front of it, so that's all more or less the same. There's a few patch ups needing to do on things like the ballasting, but that'll all be getting done in due course pretty soon. Now earlier on in the video I said about how things have been trial and error, and that's what I mean when I talk about this area, and this is where all the changes on the layout have been happening. So I put the new backboards in just to bring them round to the end of the scenic section. So as you can see, there's the cutout for the trains to go through. So now the scenic section has its boundary. Nothing fancy, just white painted backboards just to match everywhere else. I haven't bothered with the back scene over here. If I just come over to the left, so I knocked up this bridge template out of cardboard, as I'll be planning on scratch building a bridge to go in this location. I talked about it, I think I talked about it in the last video briefly, but you can see that I've sort of started going down that route now. So I just knocked up a bridge template with cardboard after speaking to some people, and that is more or less the design I'm going for. The final bridge will be being built out of mount board and cladded with plasticard, so I probably won't do a video on it because I've never scratch built something before, so I will be out of my comfort zone. But rest assured that I will certainly, or I am hoping to bring a scratch build orientated video in the future. And then I've also just knocked up a couple of layers of Celotex just to get a rough idea on the road height. Obviously none of this is finalised yet. The bridge height is more or less finalised, so I've just tried to match it with that, but it isn't quite there yet. But obviously eventually it will be, and whether I'll use Celotex or just build a wooden platform or something, I don't know. As I said earlier, everything's just been trial and error on the layout recently. So yeah, this area has more or less had my full attention over the last, well, whenever I've been working on the layout since the last video. I did think I would need to get the road foundations in and all the messy work in before continuing with the depot, which was the main reason why I'd done it. But obviously coming away from the depot and starting a new location and finishing off the main line, I did like the sound of. So to be honest, I think this area will continue to get the vast majority of my attention for the time being. So that concludes the layout update side of things. So now I'm just going to go through the new additions and then the New Year's resolution and future plans for the layout. So the only new addition to the layout is the Bachmann Class 90 90034 in DB branded XDRS livery. This was repainted by Squirrel Rail, who's on RMWeb, and he also done my 90048 for me, and he's done such a super job on repainting it. I was absolutely in love with it when he showed me, and I just had to buy it. He done a stunning job on it, and I think it's probably the best repaint of 90034 I've ever seen. So it's such a nice looking model, and it's such a nice loco in real life. I cannot pick faults on it at all. It's absolutely spot on. So certainly a special one for the layout in my opinion. And then I'll be running this with my Pretenderlino set and my Abellio Greater Angular Mark III sets as well, as it ran with these in real life, and it was a higher end to Abellio Greater Angular from 2014 up until maybe the beginning of 2016. So it certainly suits layout, and it is pretty much needed as well, as I hear it was a beast of a loco as well when it was on hire. So certainly a welcome addition to the layout, and I will always love it. So now moving on to the future plans for the layout. So as I said earlier on, this area will most likely get all my attention from now, as I'd like to get the scratch built bridge in, and then once that's in, I can then fully work out where the road will go and then get that installed. And then once all the road's in, then I can do all the embankments, all the for the scenery, all the foundations for the scenery. And then once they're on, then that's when I'll carry on with the depot as well. So I do need to get the bridge and all the road planned out before I do that. Once I've got the bridge installed, I'd like to have a underpass bridge made here. So there'll be a little scene in this little corner of the layout here. I'm going to have somewhere where a network rail can access the main line. So there's going to be some traffic infrastructure bits and pieces, maybe a scene underneath the underpass itself. And then I'm going to have a relay room around here somewhere. So then once all that's planned out and in place, and I'll start improving all of this line side scenery, track side foliage, or whatever you want to call it there. as at the minute it doesn't look good at all. That's just from stuff that I took up ages ago. I'm not going to bother talking about it, but rest assured that will get improved, and I'm hoping it will look really nice once that's in. Before the new year, I ordered a bunch of materials to start making up some scratch-built overhead live electric equipment. So I'm going to get that installed fairly soon. So you can maybe expect a how-to video from me on how I'm going to do it. Obviously, once I've done one or two and I'm feeling confident, then I don't see no reason why I won't do a video afterwards, just showing how I do it. Obviously, OHLE isn't often modelled, but there's also nothing on YouTube about how really to do it anyway, so there's plenty of opportunity there. Whilst I'm on the subject of OHLE, I'm going to be doing something with my already installed OHLE. I'm debating whether to just replace it with some fully scratch-built masts. Earlier on I've said I've come into a bit of bother with the layout, and I'm starting to have a bit of trouble with the OHLE. When I've done all the modifications to it, I didn't really do it as well as I could have done, so I'm now sort of paying the price for it a little bit. Things like loose soldering and soldering not up to scratch and things like that. There's definitely ways I can improve it, and I'd like to have this existing OHLE pretty much spot on perfect before I commit to doing the scratch built stuff. So again, that's something I'll be doing as well fairly soon. Over on this scenic break, I'll be doing another scratch built bridge. So I'm hoping that this one will be relatively simpler to install. So once I've done the one on the other side of the layout, then I can then have a bit of experience under my belt, and then obviously bring a scratch building video to the channel as well. But again, I'll see how I feel and see how things go. In the meantime though, I will need to do a bit of arranging on the track infrastructure around here, just improve some of the track work and things like that before I commit. So that'll probably be something I do first really. So that's all my future plans there. Certainly got a lot to do and a lot I've got planned for the future. I'm actually going to make my New Year's resolution this year to get the layout completely finished by the end of the year. It seems doable really, maybe a bit optimistic, but I think for the most part I will get there by the end of the year. 2020's New Year's resolution was to cover all the scenery more or less up to this point, so all that I really need to do is just fill in all the gaps over there. What will be going over there is the depot building, but apart from that it will just be a matter of scenery and details, just easy stuff. So going from that, I don't see why I won't be able to get all this area and get the whole layout finished by December this year. So hopefully that will happen, but if not, if I can get almost to that point, then I'll be happy. So there we go, that more or less brings the video to an end, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. As I said earlier, the video is going to be a shorter one than normal because of the lack of work, but hopefully you can see I've got big plans for the layout this year that I'll hopefully make come true in 2021. So hopefully I'll be back with you soon, but for now everything will remain trial and error, and as soon as I've got something to bring you, then I'll upload one. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. And Happy New Year to you all. Take care, happy modelling, and stay safe. Bye.